This, of course, is the Great Pyramid, 500 feet tall and over or approximately 2.5 million multi-ton blocks, each one a different shape and size. You obviously know by now that this could not have been the work of the dynastic Egyptians because of its size and incredible complexity. Look at the size of the people compared to the blocks as an example. And then here, of course, is the second pyramid with the upper casing stone still in place. And there in the background is the third pyramid. So once again, you can see the second pyramid. And there's another view of it again. We're finally outside of the bus, and we're going to be inspecting the third pyramid up close and personal. You can see here that the lower casing stone is still in place. In this case, it's Aswan granite, which was brought at least from 500 miles away. And the attempted entry in the distant past in the middle of the pyramid. But as we get closer and closer to the casing stone, you see the curious knobs on the surfaces, which of course we also find in Peru. You can also see that each one of these casing stones of granite is a different shape and size. Not really a logical approach to construction, but this is how it was done. And the function of the knobs here, as in Peru, still unknown. Lots of different theories. Now this recess you see was done during dynastic times, the smoothing of the surfaces. And why the casing stone has this pillowy surface, again, is unknown. You can see that it's quite rough. There is the possibility that this is the result of sand blasting from winds over the course of thousands upon thousands of years. And you can see that the pillowy surfaces are much, much rougher than what we do see in Peru. And here, again, during dynastic times, how they smoothed in, cut into the surface to flatten it for some reason. Now we're outside of the Valley Temple, and this is a piece of facing granite. You can see the beautiful contours. It's actually upside down. Originally, this would have been on the top. And what's fascinating about the Valley Temple is that you have a core of limestone and then granite on the inside and the outside. Here we're walking around the outside of it, about to go inside. See the extreme weathering of the limestone core, and then these very large blocks of granite, each one a different shape and size. Once again, you see the heavy weathering of the core. I think this is clearly several thousand years old, and obviously the Valley Temple is much older than the dynastic Egyptians, which I and many other researchers have been saying for many, many years. And it's actually starting to become accepted as the norm. So now as we go inside the Valley Temple, once again you see the beautiful granite perfectly fitting together. And the floor is made of travertine, which is a type of marble or marble-like material. Now that we're inside, you can see the giant vertical pieces, and also, once again, you can see that these multi-ton blocks fit perfectly together. There has been heavy restoration done in recent times. You can see the difference between the original surfaces and the concrete repair. And once again, just the sheer sense of scale and quality of the original workmanship is impeccable. Now, a trip to the Giza Plateau would not be complete, of course, without a visit to the giant monumental sculpture known as the Sphinx that has been under repair since dynastic times. And as well, one can't help but be in awe of the interior of the Great Pyramid. This is ascending into the Grand Gallery. And here we have the sheer scale and beautiful workmanship of the Grand Gallery. You can see the faceted surfaces. The Grand Gallery is hundreds of feet long, and it's an ominous and awesome experience to be inside the Great Pyramid. Our tour in March of 2020 will rent the interior of the Great Pyramid exclusively for our tour for 2 hours, which is what we do every time we go to the Giza Plateau. We will also be once again exploring the Osiris Shaft. So if you'd like to join our tour in March of 2020, the space is very limited, as in spaces. Now we're going to go into the King's Chamber itself. You have to bend over quite a lot. And once you're inside, you see that the walls and the floor are solid, very thick blocks of Aswan granite. And you can see very tightly fitting together. And this is the wall. Once again, the beautiful Aswan granite brought from more than 500 miles away. And now we're descending, once again through the Grand Gallery, of course. You can see that the ceiling is at least 20 feet tall from the ramp at the bottom to the top. This is solid limestone, perfectly fitting blocks. And now we're going to enter the Queen's Chamber, quote unquote. The labels Queen's Chamber and King's Chamber are false, because this, of course, and hopefully I'll never have to say it again, the Great Pyramid was not the tomb for anybody. It was a giant energetic device. So once again, beautifully polished limestone surfaces, super tight fitting. And now we are inside the quote-unquote Queen's Chamber. You can see that the ceiling is beveled. The giant limestone blocks fit perfectly together. The acoustics are actually very poor in the Queen's Chamber as compared to the King's Chamber. The King's Chamber's acoustics are phenomenal because of the presence of all of that granite. Limestone tends to absorb sound. And here you can see the top of the ceiling. And then this curious series of notches that in fact hide the opening to other internal areas, most likely, of the Great Pyramid. So if you'd like to learn more, I have this book at Amazon and others about ancient Egypt.